What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful fight fans across the world, and let's get straight into the UFC 303 reaction to last night, to what all that happened. And we'll also be breaking down why UFC 303 might be the most cursed UFC card of all time and why it is cursed. But let's get straight into it. So, Ricky Simon versus Vinicius Oliveira. I really thought Ricky Simon was going to go out there and grapple, but Vinicius Oliveira somehow stopped all his takedowns. Like, Ricky Simon has literally been grappling his whole life. He was taking down Mario Batista, but he can't take down Vinicius Oliveira. Like, MMA is the crazy. That's why MMA is the craziest sport. We don't even gotta talk that much about this fight. That was mainly the fight. Vinicius Oliveira just wasn't getting taken down, and he was piecing up Ricky Simon on the feet. Basically, what happened. Ricky Simon checked the leg kick at one point, but other than that, it was pretty uneventful. Other than Vinicius Oliveira just emoting on him. But next fight, Ray Tsuruya versus Carlos Hernandez. Wow, this one was like grappling. The Japan on the lighter weight classes, they're just cracked with the grappling. Like, they're just built different. It's insane. Like, these guys, the way they grapple, like, you don't see anybody else grapple like that. Not the Dagestanis, not U.S. wrestlers, nobody. They just go out there and, like, twist you up in the weirdest positions, make you uncomfortable the whole time. And it's insane what these little Japanese guys go out and do. It's fun watching them. We have a lot of Japanese prospects coming up in the lighter weight divisions, which is great to see because Japan is one of the coolest countries when it comes to martial arts. But let's get into the next fight. I think I predicted this one wrong too, by the way, the Ray Tsuruya, but whatever. Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. I picked Martin Buday to win, but a lot of people were saying Andrei Arlovski win. I don't really care because it was a boring, stinky fight regardless. We don't even gotta talk that much about it. It was just an Andrei Arlovski fighting a fat dude. Like, we've seen this before versus him and that Dominican guy. It's just boring, bruh. It's just boring. Heavyweight should not be a boring division. That's all I'm saying, but whatever. Let's get into the next one. Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Jillian Robertson. I really picked Michelle Waterson-Gomez because I thought she could stop the takedowns of Jillian Robertson or piece her up, but that didn't happen. She just got taken down the whole time and was just getting beat up on the ground. And then she retired, and they gave her, like, one of the craziest retirement videos ever. Like, bruh, that was where, like, all the cursed stuff from the UFC card started, right there. Like, Michelle Waterson-Gomez, because what the hell was that? They're giving Michelle Waterson-Gomez a video like that, bruh? Her record is terrible in the UFC. What is it? We'll see right now. Where's her record at? They don't even have her record up here, but it's not good, bruh. It's not good. It's like, she's almost like 50-50 wins and losses, but whatever. That's done with the early prelims. Let's get into the actual prelims. Peyton Talbot versus Giannis Gamori. You can't say much about this fight. Peyton Talbot just literally KO'd the guy in 19 seconds like we thought Peyton Talbot was going to do. That Zen in you-know-where really helped him out. It gave him that energy to go get that KO, and I was really happy to see that. But next fight, Gene Silva versus Charles Jourdain. I thought Charles Jourdain was going to do way better than he did, and he was doing good, but I guess Gene Silva is just like that. And I like seeing Gene Silva fight. I'm pretty sure he was the dude that walked slow motion to the octagon the first time. He's a funny dude, and he got the power in the hands. He's a good fighter. We're seeing a lot of fighters coming out of that camp, like Carlos Barrajo, and like a lot of dudes. So it's good to see some people coming up in other camps other than the ones we're used to. But regardless, let's get on to Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili. First of all, this one was a robbery. Cub Swanson won rounds 2 and 3. Even though I picked Andre Fili to win, still, this shit was a robbery. And this does not deserve fight of the night. Hell no. No way this deserves fight of the night. This, even though it was pretty decent, it was not fight of the night material. What is the UFC doing with these bonuses? I don't know, bro. Maybe they knew that they robbed Cub Swanson and they wanted to give him that check. That's what I can think of. But regardless, let's get on to the last fight on the prelims, which was Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I missed this one, but I saw the KO after, and oh my god, Joe Pyfer literally flatlined Marc-Andre Barriault. Joe Pyfer is just, a middleweight Justin Gaethje. Like, he'll just leg kick you, and then he'll knock you out. Like, he's just like that. He'll only lose to, like, people who are crafty, like Jack Hermanson, or people in the higher up in the middleweight division. But if you're a can, he's gonna treat you like a can. That's all I'm gonna say. Joe Pyfer really got the power in his hands, and I like watching Joe Pyfer fight, so it was good to see that. He definitely deserves a performance bonus for that because he laid him out flat. That was insane. But let's get to the main card and where it got really cursed. This is where the card got completely cursed. Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page. Ian Gary was talking all this smack about how he's going to go out there, be faster than MVP, outstrike MVP, and then he went out there and became a Dagestani? I've never seen something more disappointing in my life. If that fight stayed on the feet in the third round, I don't know what Michael, okay, the first round, you can throw that aside because whatever, he got taken down, he got out-grappled. Give Ian Gary the first round. Second round, MVP, clearly. He won that round. But in the third round, MVP was piecing him up, and then Ian Gary gets his back, and MVP just stays there with Ian Gary on his back. He literally could have dumped Ian Gary on his head or done anything in the last 10 seconds, but he was cool with just letting Ian Gary backpack him for the last 2-3 minutes of the fight, which was terrible. I don't know why Michael Venom Page would do that. If he did anything in that third round, like shuck Ian Gary off and just throw one more good strike, I think he would have took the round. And he's 37 years old. He's not getting any younger, which is horrible. And this was the why it was cursed, because Ian Gary didn't get any hype from that, and Michael Venom Page lost hype from that, because why are you losing to Ian Gary? It was just bad. This one was bad. And I really wanted to see Michael Venom Page get the knockout, and he was gonna. If it stayed on the feet in the third round, he was moving towards getting a knockout. He was catching Ian Gary with some big shots, and Ian Gary was he was stumbling and wumbling at some points in that fight, but whatever. Let's get on to the next fight. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Meiji Chiasson. The McDonald's manager does it with a doctor stoppage. This card was so cursed. She elbowed Mayra Bueno Silva's head so hard that one of the biggest cuts I've ever seen on somebody's forehead in the UFC. You could literally almost see her skull. It was nasty. And you give her a performance of the night bonus for that? Oh my god. This fight, this card was just cursed. And we're gonna get into why it's cursed after this. After I finish all the breakdowns of these fights. Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Okay, let's get into what fight we should have gotten, because this fight sucked. Even though Roman Dolidze won, he just beat Anthony Smith every round. Anthony Smith is horrible. How are you losing to Roman Dolidze? He's trash. But let's get into we were supposed to get Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill, which would have been a banger. That one would have been a certified banger. But then it got changed to Carlos Ulberg versus Jamal Hill, which also would have been a banger. That also would have been a good fight. But then it got changed to Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. This card is just cursed, I'm telling you, and it's because of Conor McGregor. It's because of Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. But I'm telling you, this is why it's cursed. Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. This one would have been better than Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Smith, and then this is what we ended up with. Oh my god, it's bruh, this is the UFC that you want to see, and then this is the fight we got. We got UFC at home. What is this, bruh? This is horrible. This is really bad. I don't even want to talk about this fight. This fight was boring. Roman Dolidze just beat up Anthony Smith for 15 minutes. It sucked. But let's get into the co-main event. This one was also cursed. It was supposed to be this was supposed to be the saving grace of the card, because Conor pulled out. Conor and Michael Chandler pulled out, so they added a new fight, Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega, which would have been good, really good. And I'm not saying Dan Ige versus Diego Lopez was bad, but it just sucked because I want to see Brian Ortega fight. But this fight, first, it got moved to 155 for Brian Ortega to make weight. And then, since Brian Ortega pulled out, it got moved to 165. So Diego Lopez had to weigh in 2 times. It was just insane. Insane. I feel bad for Diego Lopez, but he went out there and won the 2 first rounds clear. Dan Ige, I think he definitely won the 3rd round. And if that was 5 rounds, I don't know. It would have been bad for Diego Lopez. But regardless, Dan Ige definitely took the 3rd round, and he looked good. He didn't look bad. He just got outworked by Diego Lopez in the first 2 rounds. That's what it was. It wasn't a bad fight, but not the best. Whatever. But the saving grace of the card, all this man Alex Pereira does is save UFC fans from trash pay-per-views. First he saved UFC 300 because it was supposed to be Conor McGregor. Now he saves UFC 303 because it was supposed to be Conor McGregor. And you know Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka will never be a boring fight in any universe. It was the same thing the first time, and he just did it better. That was my prediction. it was either that Alex Pereira was going to go out there and knock him out better than he did the first time, or Yuri's going to take it into deep waters and get Alex Pereira. That was the only two outcomes I saw, and I definitely gave the edge to Alex Pereira because right now he is the Terminator of the UFC. He is the thug of the UFC, and he's on a different level than these guys in striking, and I don't know why they don't take him down. They got when he fights Ankalaev or somebody or Tom Aspinall, John Jones, they're going to expose the grappling because nobody else wants to. Nobody else wants to take that chance. I don't know why they want to stand with the guy who knocked out Israel Adesanya. It's insane. Like, I don't know what these guys are doing. Yuri, bro. Yuri. After he got knocked down in that first round at the last second, it was clipped already. And then the second, like, almost in the 5 seconds that the second round started, he just gets head kicked. It was nasty. It was sad seeing Yuri like that, man. I wanted him to go out there and do better, even though I picked Alex Pereira. And he definitely deserves performance of the night. And we're going to get into why this card was cursed. It's because of Conor McGregor's pullout. When Conor McGregor pulled out, that's when all these fights started falling out. That's when Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill fell out. And when you have Conor McGregor at the main event, all the rest of the fights are going to be kind of stinky. Like, all the rest of these fights are not the best for pay-per-view. Even though the prelims are not that bad. We got Payne Talbot, we got Andre Philly, we got Joe Pyfer, we got Cub Swanson. Not that bad, but not the best. Like, we've 301, 303, they have been like some of the most underwhelming pay-per-views of the year. And 297, but it's really all because of Conor McGregor. Ever since he pulled out, this card was just cursed from that. In the fights, in the matchups, it was just cursed. It was completely cursed. And it was an okay pay-per-view. It was not that good. The main card was underwhelming. The only saving grace was Alex Pereira versus Yuri. And man, we just gotta love Alex Pereira, man, because if it wasn't for him, a lot of pay-per-views would suck. Alex Pereira, he's the Thanos of the UFC for a reason. He's the face of the UFC for a reason. He's just the best. I love watching Alex Pereira fight. How could you not? And how could you not like watching Alex Pereira win? But regardless, thank you for tuning in to this one, and I'll see you guys in the next.